Okay, it's finally time to talk about Enscape. This has been probably one of the most requested visualization tools on the channel for a very long time, but I've never really made a proper video about it, and honestly, I've never really used it for a full visualization workflow either. So in this video, I want to change that. Now, I wouldn't call myself an expert on Enscape yet, but over the past few weeks, I've been watching a ton of tutorials, testing features, going through courses, and trying to understand how this workflow fits together, because I did use Enscape in the past a few times, but it has evolved a lot since then, especially now with the whole chaos ecosystem around it. And to be honest, that's one of the reasons that I wanted to revisit this, not just because of Enscape itself, but also with Veras and Envision. And at first, I'm not gonna lie, Envision felt like just another program inside this already very large chaos lineup of tools. But once I started using it and testing it, I started to understand the logic behind it a bit more and how it fits into the workflow. So in this video, I want to walk you through this entire process here. I'm going to show you the things that I learned along the way, some tips I picked up while testing the software, and then at the end, I'll give you my honest thoughts on this whole workflow if I think Enscape still makes sense today. And well, since I was already planning to make this video, I reached out to Chaos to see if they wanted to support the channel and sponsor this video. And thankfully they said yes. But just so that we're clear from the beginning, all the opinions you see in this video are my own. They're not forcing me to say anything, okay? I'm gonna genuinely share what I think about the workflow, the strengths, the weaknesses, and the things that I think people should consider before jumping into it. So for this test, I wanted to use a real project instead of just a random scene. So I have here this apartment from Giuliano Marchiorato studio. They focus mostly on high-end residential interiors, renovations, and houses. And I thought this project was perfect for this video because interiors are one of the places where Enscape really shines. So yeah, basically we're going to take this real apartment project here and put the workflow to the test. But visualization is still visualization at the end of the day. The software can change, but the core process stays pretty similar. And if you follow the structure consistently here, it usually leads to strong results. So first I gotta define the main scenes just so that I know what's actually gonna be shown and where I can actually focus most of my efforts. Then we can tackle materials, lighting, and settings more efficiently. But before all of this comes references and testing, which is exactly why something like Veras actually makes a lot of sense here, because it helps you explore moods and visual direction much earlier in the process. Let me show you how this works here. Veras is right inside here of Enscape. One click and you open the interface. And the first thing you gotta understand is that Veras is less of a rendering software and more of an ideation, like a fast ideation tool connected directly to your model. Everything runs online, so it's very lightweight on your computer. And what really made sense to me is that Veras is basically integrating the latest AI image models directly into your workflow. That can change, but right now it's using Nano Banana 2. And the reality is that it's much quicker to work here inside of Enscape and SketchUp with Veras than constantly jumping back and forth between browser tabs and AI websites. Now, I gotta say that instead of using the pre-made styles too much, I mean, they can be fun, but I didn't think they were the best part of Veras. I found myself mostly inside the compose mode. Here's how I used it. So I would simply take a screenshot of the model, then paste it into GPT or Claude, and then ask it to generate a prompt for Nano Banana for the atmosphere I wanted. I mean, you don't need to write it all, so just take this, paste into Veras, and then let it generate a few options. And as you can see, the results are surprisingly good. It supports prompting as specific as you want, and this is for me the real power of using Veras with Nano Banana, so that it can keep everything intact, all the architecture intact, and just play with moods, materials, and everything. But it's still AI at the end of the day, so you might hallucinate, but then a few tries often gives you the result you want. Now here's some quick ideas for you. Just use it to generate a few day scenes, just to test lighting and mood. Do maybe a night version of that image. And then you can use it here under edit with a custom prompt to change specific parts of the image, like for example, a sofa fabric or something like that, or just to add people, or even just with a reference image together. Very fast, in just a few minutes, you can work all of this out. But again, this is not replacing the actual visualization workflow. Nano Banana and image models as a whole are not for that. So get a clear idea of where you can take this project visually. And once I have that, and then I still want the control and precision of properly building the final images here inside of a rendering software. Okay, so now into Enscape, and for those who don't know, Enscape works as a plugin directly inside your modeling software, whether that's SketchUp, Revit, Rhino, and a few others. And for me, this has to be one of the biggest strengths of Enscape right away. It's lightweight and it's easy to set up, and you can start getting good results very quickly. There's a very low barrier of entry here. And because it's directly connected to your modeling software, there's almost no friction in the workflow. You're not constantly exporting, you're importing, rebuilding scenes, adapting materials. Everything just stays connected to this design process, you know? So once I have the scenes defined, one thing that I highly recommend is just enabling the save frame. Do that right away so that you have these black bars right here so that you always have a clear idea of what's actually inside the composition and what aspect ratio you're working with. I also ended up using the Enscape window floating setting here on top of SketchUp, and then if you have a second monitor, even better. But honestly, even just as a small floating overlay worked surprisingly well during the workflow. And again, I do understand that this whole ease of use is a huge part of why Enscape became so popular in architecture firms. Not only because it's fast, but also because it runs relatively well, even on simpler machines. You don't need some sort of insane workstation to start outputting consistent results. Most of the time, I just kept the viewport quality on high while working, and honestly, that's already very solid. But then, before exporting the final images, make sure to switch to Ultra to get the best quality possible. Now, when setting up the scenes initially, I just work with very simple lighting, very simple at first, so that it's enough, to understand the general direction of the space and how light is entering the scene. You can even use the auto exposure, but then I usually uncheck that before working with the final lighting and the final scenes. But once you have that, you can jump directly into materials, and then having a built-in library of materials is always helpful for quick setup and I would say secondary materials. Enscape does include a simple one, and it can be helpful in some situations. That said, if you still care about visualization quality, I still highly recommend just using high-end PBR materials whenever possible. So most of the materials that I use are usually coming from libraries like Polyhaven, Polygon, and many others available online. Usually I do at a 4K resolution. That's enough for like most materials. You can use 2K for the ones that are hidden or back of the scene. But yeah, 4K is more than enough. And thankfully, the material workflow here in Enscape is actually very straightforward. Just albedo, the diffuse map here, normal, bump, or displacement, and then roughness. Very simple and effective. I mean, if they added a few extra customizations here and there, as they have with V-Ray, I think this could be very solid. And then you got to do proper UV mapping. And if you're using SketchUp, you got to do that with a plugin because SketchUp is very limited on that end. It just makes the whole process cleaner and just much more believable at the end, so that materials are properly placed on the models. And I know that, yes, assigning maps, it's always very tedious, but honestly, it's just part of the visualization workflow in general. Just kind of sit down and then test the materials, swap textures, adjust the roughness to get a different feeling, and then you just slowly refine the scenes. Materials, they play a very important part in the final result. And still speaking of materials, you then have the AI material generator, which can honestly be pretty handy for certain situations, especially for fast exploration and testing. And now once most of the materials are in place, maybe like 90% of the materials, I then usually go back to lighting and atmosphere to really start refining the mood of the project. Now, one trick that I kept seeing while watching the many tutorials that I did, and actually something that I already do with other rendering engines as well, is using extra artificial lights to subtly assist natural lights inside interiors. Because the reality is that interior visualization tends to get very dark very quickly. That's just part of how these rendering workflows behave. So sometimes you almost have to stage the lighting a little bit to help lift the exposure naturally. And interestingly, instead of using huge rectangular lights everywhere like I normally do, I found during this tutorial binge watching on YouTube that using multiple spotlights gave a much softer and more natural result in Enscape. I was very curious to see, but it did work out. Now, throughout this whole process, something that became very clear to me is that the real strength of Enscape is not obsessing over endless render settings. It's not really about spending hours tweaking tiny technical details, trying to squeeze in every last bit of realism possible. No, the strength is speed. It's the fact that you can genuinely design while visualizing. You can move furniture around, change materials, test colors, adjust lighting, all of that inside the 3D and immediately understand how the space is behaving with realistic shadows, reflections, and atmosphere. So because of that, one thing that I ended up doing consistently was having one fixed camera position and then disabling this live sync camera for a moment, and then just using that frame as this live composition while testing decisions and really going to the details, and then having this larger frame to look at constantly. Now, because Enscape is part of the Chaos ecosystem, we also got access to Chaos Cosmos. And to be honest, this is one of the things that makes a huge difference in architectural workflows, especially for vegetation. Vegetation has got to be one of the most annoying parts to deal with in 3D, in SketchUp especially, but with Cosmos, adding trees, plants, bushes, grass, and all of these secondary elements becomes incredibly fast. I just wish this would not be Praxis, as it tends to be harder to deal with in 3D, but I know this is a SketchUp limitation. Still, for architecture firms visualizing on a daily basis, I can clearly see why something like Cosmos becomes such a useful part of the workflow. Now, after all of this work, it's relatively simple to export from Enscape. You don't need to go through many settings, and if I can be very honest with you, for most day-to-day architectural workflows, this is already enough. So at this point, you can render the images, bring them into Photoshop for some final post-production, which is something that I always do, and even use Chaos Cloud for some client collaboration, review comments, sharing scenes, and just handling all of the communication side of the project a bit more efficiently. But depending on the type of project and the presentation you need, you can continue this workflow further, because then with basically one button, you take everything from Enscape directly into Envision. And this is actually where it started to make much more sense to me, because as I said, at first I thought Envision was just another extra software inside this already massive and a bit overwhelming, if I can say that, Chaos ecosystem. But then after testing, I saw that this is really more about the next step of the workflow. Enscape is clearly focused on speed, iteration, and design exploration. But Envision is where you go when you want to push the presentation further. I like that it's optional, I obviously wish it was inside Enscape altogether, but I understand SketchUp limitation, for example, and 3D limitation. So I understand why it needs to be a standalone software. And it only works, in my opinion, because all the work that you've done in Enscape carries over with lighting, assets, materials, scene setup, and so on. Like, it's not starting from scratch, Now, something that I noticed is that the promo material that I watched focused more on animation. But even without animation, if I can be honest, just rendering still images, Envision gives you access to a different rendering approach with ray tracing. So, it's a better quality if you do decide to go from Enscape to Envision. So it's ray tracing, not path tracing. So something to keep in mind. So again, Envision is not necessarily one more software that you need to learn. It's more like an optional next step if you need more high-end presentation. Now, I'm definitely not very proficient with Envision yet. I've only spent a few hours testing it so far, but even with very basic adjustments, just carrying over all of the work from Enscape, I can already see the potential here, And overall, I do think Envision still feels a bit early in some areas. The workflow can feel heavier at times, and there are definitely parts of the usability and overall experience that still feels like they're evolving. But at the same time, I can absolutely see the potential here, especially coming from Chaos. And something specific, but I appreciate, is that you can tweak the preview quality while working, so the viewport doesn't become unbearably heavy all the time. That said, this is much more demanding on your computer compared to Enscape. With Enscape, honestly, my computer barely reacted while working, but then once I moved to Envision, the GPU usage and overall load became much heavier, especially because now we're dealing with a fully ray-traced environment, as I said. Another thing to keep in mind. So yeah, after going through this whole workflow, you probably already guessed where I stand. At the end of the day, I'm not really attached to a specific software. I think the important thing here is understanding visualization itself, understanding how to communicate architecture, atmosphere, lighting, composition, mood, all of it, because once you understand that, you can move between software and take advantage of what each one does best. The truth is that Enscape is extremely strong at speed and iteration. It's probably one of the best tools I've tested for actually visualizing while designing. The feedback is immediate, the workflow is very simple, and the barrier of entry is very low. Now, obviously, we gotta be honest here, Enscape does have its limitations if you really want to push realism and presentation quality further. Now, Envision covers that. So for more archivist-focused workflows, some users might naturally spend more time inside Envision, but for the the typical user, this evolution here is kind of smart. You work quickly inside Enscape, figure things out, design, atmosphere, materials, lighting, and then if the project requires more high-end presentation, you continue with the exact same workflow inside Envision. And if, that's the important part, only if you need it. So yeah, because of this progression, I can definitely see myself using this workflow more in the future. Let me know if you agree with me or not, if you already used Enscape or Envision before, and what do you think about this whole workflow, even with Veras. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to not miss any future videos, and thank you again to Chaos for sponsoring this video and giving me a chance to finally properly test all of this out. I'll see you guys in the next video.